So, good morning everyone. We are Group 12, Region 12, Soc Sargin. My name is Delmark Dimiterio.
My name is Angelica H. Lauron.
So, listen objectives. At the end of the discussion, the students are expected to first, identify the different major instruction activities and cultural highlights in the province with Soc Sargin region. Second, analyze and evaluate the great literary works from Soc Sargin region. Third, express appreciation in reading Soxargin literary works. So, our contents, number 1, province and capital. 2, facts about Region 12. 3, festival and tourist spot. 4, effect. 5, legend. 6, poem. So, let's explore Soxargin. Okay, number 1, province and capital. Soxargin is a region of the Philippines located in central Mindanao and is officially designated of Region 12. The name is an acronym that stands for the region, 4 province and one of its cities, South Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, Sargani, and General Santos City. The regional center is Coronadal City and located in the province of South Cotabato. So look at the picture. First, Cotabato. So capital, Kidapawan City, aka City of Fruits. Then second, Sultan Kudarat. Capital, Isulan, aka capital of the Philippines. Then third, General Santos City, aka Tuna, capital of the Philippines. Then fourth, South Cotabato, capital, Coronadal City, aka Land of the Dreamweaver. Then Sarangani, capital, Alabel, aka Gateway to Southern Philippines. Then 2, facts about Region 12. Sacsarjan is the home of the
Tiboli
Tiboli tribe,
one
one of the most colorful and musically inclined tribes in the country. The language spoken in are Hiligaynon, Ilocano, Maguindanao, Cebuano, and
Chavacano.
Chabacano. Dominant religion are Roman Catholic and Islam. Third, Cotabato derived its name from the word Kuta Watu meaning stone fort, which served as the seat of the great Sultan Kudarat. Then, Sultan Kudarat is located in the southwestern part of Mindanao and was named after Sultan Muhammad Gipatuan Kudarat, one of the greatest leaders who ruled this area under the Sultanate of Maguindanao. Then General Santos or Jinsan is part of the province South Cotabato and is the first congressional district in the province. Then third, festival and tourist spots. South Cotabato. So, festival. Tinalak Festival is a traditional hand-woven cloth indigenous to the Tibuli people from the South Cotabato. It is a woven in the order to celebrate and pay tribute to major life events such as birth, life, marriage, or death within the community. So, tourist spot, so, Lake Halon, then Surala Tree People Monument, then Cotabato Festival. Timpopo Festival, also called Timpopo Fruit Festival, is the annual fruit festival and the founding anniversary celebration of Kidapawan City, Cotabato, Philippines every August 18. So look at the period kasadya sa Timpopo. So tourist spots. First, Batasan Falls. Second, Mawig Paniki Falls. Sultan Kudarat. So, Kalimudan Festival commemorates the founding anniversary of the province of the Sultan Kudarat. The week-long festivities gathers the different tribes in the province for Thanksgiving and colorful showcase of the richness of their cultures. So tourist spots. Balot Island, Dinsikan, Lom Cave, Sarangani. Sarangani by Festival is an annual event in Sarangani province. The festival is held on every third week of May. Arguably the most popular beach event in the southern region of Philippines, served by festival is a most attended for many tourists. So look at the pictures, then tourist spots. First, Gumasa Beach, Sarangani Bay, General Santos. The Tuna Festival is an annual festival celebrated on the first week of September, held in the tuna capital of the Philippines. The festival reflects what abundance means. So tourist spots. First, Plaza General Santos. Second, Sanchez Peak. Then fourth,
In APIC, I am the one who assigned this one. By the way, my name is Angelica Huete H. Lauron. And first epic is Ulahingan, Alivo epic. The characters are Agyu, father of Baybayan, Baybayan, son of Agyu, Mongan, wife of Banlak, Midlimbag, highest god, Banlak, husband of Mongan and brother of Agyu. By the way, this is the settings of this epic. Aroman, paradise, heaven, nalandangan. Agyu and his relatives are the characters in Olahingan. A conflict develops between them and their rulers, usually Muslims, because of a forced tribute and the killing of the ruler, deeply guided by a diwata or spirit who promises them immortality after they have overcome various obstacles. They leave behind Mungan, the wife of Banlak who is Agyos' brother, because she has leprosy. Mungan, however, is the first among them to become immortal. It is she who tells Agyu and the clan to go to Aroman to wait the Sarimbar, Salsimbar or magical flying boat that will take them to paradise when the appointed day comes. Agyu and his relatives ascend to heaven. Adiwata showers them with the oil of immortality and gives them the betel nut of immortality to chew. He blesses them but tells them that the Midlimbag, the highest god, sends them to live in Nalandangan, an earthly paradise, and not in heaven that is their reward for enduring and having confidence in the Midlimbag. However, Baybayan Agyus son that not join them in Nalandangan. Three incidents in the past explain his exclusion. He did partake a boar which Agyu and his men had killed with the help of a Mericin Etu, a heavenly messenger. His withdrawal from the feast signaled that he would not join them on their trip to paradise. Consequently, he is tasked to go around the world 7 times to gather converts before he can enter paradise. A similar incident happened in Kitide, where Baybayan was absent in the distribution of a dead fish. Agyu again decrees that Baybayan should circle the world and win converts before he can join them in heaven. Before Baybayan can start on his journey, however, Agyu's grandfather tells him to dance the Saot, a circular war dance. Instead of circling 3 times as dictated by tradition, Baybayan circles 7 times. The grandfather then declares the Baybayan must circle the world 7 times. In his wandering, Baybayan encounters many adventures, converting many peoples, including Chinese and Muslims. He and his followers would stop journeying every 7 days. In one episode, his followers ran out of food and drink. They stopped by a tree laden with fruit. Baybayan performs the first olahing, and the fruit falls from the tree and turns into lime pet, left wrappings of rice. A bowl of bayand appears beside each lime pet. Baybayan and his followers feast on food which do not run out. After more wanderings, they are finally lifted to heaven in the Salimbar, where the highest Katulusan, a divinity, makes them immortal. Midlimba gives them powers of a different nature than those who he has given Agyu, and provides them with another paradise to stay in. He exhorts Subaybayan to inspire mortals to perform the olahing so that they may not forget Agyu. The theme of this epic are rivalry between clans. It is all about overcoming the obstacles to receive a reward which is have to power and to be sent in paradise. And then the moral lesson, overcoming obstacles and in all the sacrifices you've done there always a reward. Okay. And next is the Indarapatra at Sulaiman. The author the author is Bartolome del Valle, the author of the epic Indarapatra. Sulaiman Bartolome del Valle, parent to one child, was born on September 18, 1641. Bartolome had siblings. Felipe Bartolome married Ana Rodrigo Perez in 1660. Tribes in Sultan Kudarat are Muslims, Iranians, the animistic terrorists, and the Manubos. They give to Antonio Borginio Singinzat Gutierrez del Valle. Bartolome died in July 1725 at 83 years old. We know that Bartolome del Valle had been residing in Filipinas, Puerto Rico, Pilipinas. Bartolome is also known as Ome. Okay. Tribes. Okay. The the characters. Okay. Their nationality is still Spanish. Bartolome's education includes Bartolome del Valle finished his studies as BSc major in Filipino and history. Their occupation and profession is listed as poet, teacher, principal, author. And then the characters are Indarapatra. He is a brave and wise warrior and a king. Sulaiman, brother of Indarapatra and obedient to his king. Korita, terrible creature with many limbs. And then pa, enormous bird. Tarabusaw, an ugly creature in the form of a man. And then the next one, seven-headed bird. Dreadful, unable to see in all directions at the same time. And then a long time, okay, settings. By the way, the settings, it is where the four monsters attacked. And the next, kingdom of Mantapuli. It is the kingdom ruled by Indarapatra. A long time ago, Mindanao was covered with many people living in the country, and all the highlands were dotted with villages and settlements. For many years, the people prospered, living in peace and contentment. Suddenly there appeared in the land four horrible monster Korita, a terrible creature with many limbs, lived partly on the land and partly on sea, but its favorite haunt was the mountain where the rattan palm grew. The second one is Tarabusaw, an ugly creature in the form of a man lived on Mount Matutum. The third is Pa, an enormous bird was so large that its wing covered the sun and brought darkness to the earth. Its egg was as large as a house. While he was preparing, Indarapatra gave him a ring and a kreese. Then taking a young sapling, Indarapatra planted it beneath the window of their house. He said to Sulaiman, "If these three lives you live, if it dies, you die. Also by these three I shall know when you are in a trouble." Sulaiman departed for Mindanao, and he neither wooded nor used a boat, but went through the air and landed on the mountain where the rattan grew. There he stood on the summit and gazed about on all sides. He looked on the land and villages, but he could see no living thing. Suddenly, out of the ground came the horrible creature Korita. It sprang at the man and sank it close at his flesh, but Sulaiman, knowing at once that this was the scourge of the land, drew his sword and cut Konita pieces. Suddenly, out of the ground came the horrible creature, Korita. It sprang at the man and sank it close at his flesh, but Sulaiman, knowing at once that this was the scourge of the land, drew his sword and cut Korita to pieces. Encouraged by his success, Sulaiman went to the Mount Matutom, where conditions were even worse. With a loud yell, Tarubusaw forth leaped. For the moment they looked at each other, neither showing any sign of fear. Then Tarabusaw used all his powers to try to devour Sulaiman, who fought back for a long time, and the battle continued until at last the monster fell exhausted to the ground, and Sulaiman killed him with his sword. The next place visited by Sulaiman was Mount Bita. Here havoc was present everywhere, and though he passed by many homes, he saw that not a single soul was left. As he walked, sudden darkness fell over the land, startling him. As he looked toward the sky, he beheld a great bird that swooped upon him. Immediately he struck, and the bird fell dead at his feet, but wing fell on Sulaiman and he was crushed. Now at this very time King Indapatra was sitting at his window, and looking out he saw the little tree wither and dry up. Then although he was very sad, he was filled with a desire for revenge. And putting on his sword and belt, he started for Mindanao in search for his brother. Still searching for his brother, he arrived at Mount Beta, where the dead bird lay on the ground, and as he lifted the severed wing, he beheld the bones of Sulaiman with his sword by his side. He looked for vines with which he could tie together and bones of his brother because he decided to bring his back to Mantapuli. However, he saw a jar of water not far from him. He knew that the jar came from the sky, so he reached for it and poured its contents over the scattered bones of Sulaiman. Sulaiman stood up, rubbed his eyes as though he just awakened from a long sleep. They embraced each other in joy. Sulaiman went home to Mantapuli while Indapatra proceeded to Mount Gurayu. There he met the dreadful bird that had 7 heads. He conquered this monster with the use of his sword, Joropakal. Indapatra continued his journey to Mount Kurayan where he killed the dreadful bird with the 7 heads. After this monster had all been destroyed and peace and safety had been restored to the land, one day during his search he caught signs of beautiful woman at a distance. However, suddenly disappeared. When Indapatra looked back, he saw an old woman staring at him. From his woman, Indapatra learned about Sulaiman's encounters with the monster and how the people went into hiding. After a while, the old woman led Indapatra to the cave where the people had gathered. There, the young man saw the beautiful girl he met near the spring, but who disappeared before he could talk to her. In the Patra, he told the people to go back to their homes because the monsters were all vanquished. The people rejoiced to hear the news. They all went out and returned to their farms. The chief gave his daughter to Indapatra in marriage. The theme of this epic, a true hero is the one who is willing to sacrifice his life so that others may be saved. And the moral lesson, we must not live in fear, or else it may destroy or weaken us. We must fight for freedom. We must be brave enough to handle circumstances in life and never lose hope in living peaceful life despite of the problems we're facing. Number 5. The Legend. Legend of Mount Cotabato. In the early days of Spanish expeditions in Mindanao, Bantugan asked his son, Balatama, to go and ask for hands of Sultan's daughter for his father to marry. Balatama did, and soon Bantugan and the princess by Sidi Miriam were married. They had a child named Fatima who was pretty but was a restless child. She could run at the age of 8 months, speaks the of the 10 months and the age of 1, she can catch dragonflies and pick flowers. She would run in and out of the gardens, meadows, and forests and climb mountains. My Fatima or Tima Kopidoli Den means my Fatima, come home. The longest and the loudest call was when Fatima climbed the hill nearby and watched the battle between the Marines and Spanish general and the sea warriors of Bantugan, Fatima's father. That was many years ago, and the people in the mountain never forget the call of Fatima's mother, Timaku, Timaku. At present, the mountains is called Timaco. It stands at the mouth of the Rio Grande River and guards the entrance to Cotabato City. By the way, this is the picture. And number 6, the poem Lamgi. Lamgi, bilaan pom. Lamgi ha lamda wadu wandi. Gindi kui kilo ginha fambo hawakila tunda. Wadu wadin mandi mandi wagini dan akibahan. Huhalyuhan ha wadini mandi. Hunun ka yunha. Nangat hukong dindi wakilak gin ha wanuluhan alad huwaman da agumupgon indi undigo han alungafon ha hay ha. English translation by Lilia Tolentino, SPC. What can we do? Oh, what can we do? This is our work. This we should do. On my, how? Oh, how is this to go on? Continue, then come back when you reach the top. "'Tis not there, 'tis not here," they said. "Well, try, till we can make it." It's not here, according to them, but don't relax, don't be surprised. They're still far. Let's hurry. And that's all. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned, and God bless us all. Thank you. God bless.